The next thing that's part of education is staying in tune with the conversations that are already happening about your business and industry. And Alex talked about that listening aspect of social media. If you aren't doing anything right now, you should be doing this because it is so easy and is so well designed to do in a manageable way. What you need to do is allocate time. You may need to say, okay, this person on the team is going to spend 2 hours a week doing this, and this person is going to set up Google blog searches. This person, we're going to get a Nielsen Buzzmetrics account. Just figure out what it is to keep in tune with the conversation that's going on. And if you can, deputize someone within the organization to speak on your behalf, because that's what lots of companies have figured out already. If you're in the fashion business, you're probably going to be able to speak to more people who are interested in what you have to say on the Vogue forums than if you try to create your own forum right now, because the people have already decided Vogue forums are where it's happening, and it's a little bit of a winner-take-all kind of game. For technology and telco, Whirlpool is critical for getting your message out, and you'll see some really smart companies who are constantly getting on those forums and posting and saying, hey, I represent Virgin Broadband, and I know there have been problems, but we're fixing them. And that is very reassuring, because that's where customers are going. And there's some interesting sites on the web where you can really find information that you'd never imagined. It's sort of doing your market research for you. There's one little cool site called brandtags.net where they show you a logo, and you've got to sort of put in a word that is the first word that comes to mind. It's a bit of like a brand Rorschach test. This is a little section of the brand tags for Qantas, the D through F section. So if Qantas wants to see what people are thinking about Qantas, they can just go on this website and get a pretty good idea of the sort of first thing that comes into people's minds when they think of the brand. And that can help them to sort of guide their strategy. And even better is that if you can create that conversation yourself, especially if you're in a category that's not inherently interesting to people, if you can own the conversation, you're getting an amazing amount of free media. And one of the most successful social media sites in Australia, which DTDigital did quite a few years back now for Kimberly Clark, was the Huggies site. Now, young mothers are the kind of tribe that definitely needs to talk to each other, a little bit isolated, so the internet is really making being a mother or a dad a whole lot easier to share information. Now, you may not want to participate in these conversations if you're not a young mother. That post yesterday especially, not necessarily where you would go if this was not high on your agenda. But for Huggies, this is brand gold. This is absolutely perfect for Huggies. No one really wants to talk about diapers, but they do have other things to talk about. So, nappies. I'm sorry, I have to translate here. And the last thing is the rules of engagement that's part of education of online social media. And although an organization like Zappos might say anyone can Twitter within an organization, in some organizations it is important to have a consistent message. There are compliance issues within some organizations, and it's easier to keep some level of control. So you want to write down not only what it is that you want to do with your social media. You want to make it very clear that you have to define the mission of what you're doing. So everyone knows what is the point of this, and there isn't confusion around this, and it doesn't sort of evolve into something that it didn't intend to be. And you also have to pretty clearly communicate what's okay and what's not okay. It's not brain surgery to figure that out, but a lot of organizations still don't do that. They don't actually write down clear guidelines for participating either on external sites or in sites that they've created themselves. We found that it was quite useful for us to have an internal blog first, to sort of do the training wheels aspect of social media, make it easy for people to participate within the organization, and then open it up a little bit more so people sort of get a feel for it. But most important, if you're going to use social media for marketing, that make sure that it's authentic, because lack of authenticity can really backfire on you. And just to give you an example, a couple of years back, Sony decided that they wanted to create this sort of underground movement for the PSP. And they created this blog-type website, all I want for Xmas is a PSP, and there were a couple of dudes who rapped about the PSP. And there were some gamers who looked at it, and it didn't really pass the sniff test. So they did a little research. They looked at the URL. They went into Whois and saw who registered the URL and found out that it was registered to a web marketing agency. Well, that just blew the cover on the big social media marketing initiative in a big way. And gamers are very connected, and the blog world of gaming just went crazy against Sony. Now, this was the absolute worst outcome that could be imagined for Sony. I mean, to have the entire blog community of these highly engaged gamers just dissing Sony in great length. And they actually won, again, this is becoming a bit of a theme, but they won the Golden Poop Award from Consumerist Magazine, which was clearly not a good outcome. So definitely be careful when doing social media. Be authentic. If you are posting, say, hey, I represent blank, and I want to let you know that this is happening. Don't hide behind social media. And the last T is to evangelize. And if your role within the organization is to make this happen, you have to be excited about it. You have to be someone who's going to get everyone excited about it. And at the heart of it, social media is about people. If you really wanted to figure out a social media strategy, think about who within your organization has interesting things to say that your customers would want to read, because the content is critical. People are looking for good content on the internet. They don't care exactly where it comes from. They just will find it. And organizations like IBM have figured this out. There's a page on their site with links to dozens and dozens of their employees' blogs. And these are not corporate blogs. These are not their employees' official IBM blogs. These are just blogs of highly engaged technology people. And that's who they're talking to when they're talking to their customers. So they realize that maybe the marketing team and the PR team doesn't actually know how to talk to their customers so well. But let's make sure that our tech people are talking to the tech people at our customers' companies. So this is a sort of a description of what this is all about. The key to creating communities is to focus on technical content developed by the sponsoring firm, the community, and ecosystem partners. Top marketers will integrate product messages and offers subtly into this exchange of information by not beating the feature and function drum, but by offering detailed explanations of how to solve a business problem and how, coincidentally, their product is part of the solution. And that's kind of how the conversation works on the internet. It's not about, here's this great product. It's about how you're going to get what you need to get done, and then coincidentally, the product is going to help you. One good way to start with this kind of community building is the relatively closed community. You don't necessarily have to open up the Huggies forum and try to reach every single Australian. One company that's doing this pretty well is the Intercontinental Hotels Group. They've created these kind of ambassador communities. They have about 300 members each. They're really loyal customers, frequent visitors to IHG hotels. And by inviting them to participate, they not only increase the loyalty of these customers, but they're also actually saving money. They've asked these customers to take pictures, and they're actually using these images within their marketing materials, so it's helping to save on stock photography. They're running little promotions, but with these loyal customers. So you may want to think about getting customers together in a small way, in a sort of invitation-only way. It's an easier way to get it started, and it has fewer risks. And the last part about evangelizing, I think, is making sure that when you think about social media, you don't think about it only in terms of your brand, because social media is a two-way channel. And if everyone just focused on their own social media, then the whole system wouldn't work. So it's good to get out there and look at all of the different sites on the web. If you're a marketer, go on the marketing sites, make comments on those sites. Really participate in all the conversations, and you can link back to the stuff that you're doing, but make sure that you are really aware of the full range of what's going on, because that's how the whole thing has to work. We all have to be participating widely. And just as a closing thought, I found this quote when I was doing research for this presentation, and it's strong words, but I think it's important words. The dead-end suggestion box and the auto-reply are symbols of corporate indifference. Customers expect a higher level of responsiveness now, and they will go where they find it. And I think that's how we need to think. We need to go beyond where we are right now and follow our customers, because that's where they are. Thanks.